Take one.
Take one. Aloha and welcome to Lucy's Paradise podcast. Today we have Z from Baltimore.
What up, y'all?
Yeah, tell me a little bit about you.
So my name is Z from Baltimore. I do poems and stuff. I am an artist. I host open mics, artist showcase.
I love that.
I do just a lot of stuff in the scene, just trying to bring artists together and stuff,
Yeah, I like
and
that. I like that.
provide a space for us to be able to, build community. I got a open mic called Let That Shit Out. And that's
Ooh, I like that.
specifically because you got stuff on your chest, you gotta let it out.
Better to let it out
Yes,
than hold it
yes,
in.
yes.
Yeah.
And so but other than that, I like to go camping. I'm a hippie.
Okay.
I like to sit by a fire and chill. So yeah, I do a lot.
You going to Aloha is Love or whatever it's called?
I want to.
Yeah.
I
might
was
go. I think I'm gonna go this time. Yeah.
I haven't been yet, and it was only because like me and my ex met at one of those festivals, and when we broke up, I was like, I'm gonna stay away. But,
yeah. I that's how I am too. You're just kind of like
yeah, you don't
out of
want me-
respect and like kind of your own growth. Yeah, I feel that.
exactly. But this one I might go.
Yeah. Well, my friend and I were talking about, I don't know if you know Allie, she's also a friend of Kristen's, but we talked about like maybe going together as friends because we're just homies and like setting an intent like for us to go. So yeah, you're more than welcome to jump in on that. Maybe we can bring a ukulele and like consciously like make a couple songs or something or like or just jam out, like whatever, you know.
I'm always down for the jam sessions.
Yeah.
The jam sessions be the best, especially because it's like it's impromptu and it just happens, and it's like you just gotta feel it when it's happening.
Yeah.
And it's something like it's not about watching it or hearing it, it's about feeling it.
Yeah.
And that's what I love.
Yeah, it's not creating is cool because it's not even performative, because like performative is like you have the song structure and everything already and then you practice in delivering it, but when you're jamming, the lyrics weren't written yet. It's kind of like, what am I feeling right now? Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, I've been in a few jam sessions. We had one at Lunar Vibes and it lasted for like 2 hours.
Damn.
And we just went
I heard
with
about
it.
that. I heard about
oh
that.
my, it was legendary. It was like one of those things you had to be there, and it was dope. It was really
that
dope.
sounds cool. Yeah, I definitely got to get a little more in that realm. I'm not into like drugs or drinking, so it's hard for me to be in those spaces for too long because I just get tired. Like I gotta sleep, bro.
So much. I feel that so much. I mean, I am into those things, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
But like during the day, like I get social anxiety, so it's hard for me to be around people for so long. Especially when I'm like 100% sober. And so like I 100% feel that because I'll be in my tent most of the time, and then when night comes, I emerge. That's how
you emerge from the darkness.
I emerge from the darkness, and then it's like, hey, now I'm here.
That's cool. Yeah. I'm like that too. I struggle with a lot of social anxiety.
Isn't it crazy like to be like such social, like such people out here like being artists and being out in front of people all the time, and then personally you're just like nervous and anxious all the time, and you have to like deal with that duality of being able to be out on a stage and stuff like that, but also like retreat into yourself.
Yeah, I think when I think about kind of, and just for me personally, like why I'm potentially like that is growing up I would always be cracking jokes, and like my thing was like I did want to be funny, and I probably put a little more effort into trying, like as a kid, because as a kid you're not fucking funny, like you're saying some dumb shit.
Yeah.
But my sister was always telling me to stop and be serious, like stop goofing around, be serious. But I think that might have hindered me a little bit to where I got a little self-conscious, like when I do want to like joke, I feel like, oh, I have to reel it back instead of like. But my friends who really know me and we're really close and they know like my intent is not like bad, I feel like I can like let that out more. So
yeah, that's exactly.
It's definitely things from my childhood probably that are why I'm like in my head about it.
I feel that I was very much similar to that. It was, for me, it was like moving to Hawaii because like I'm from the East Coast, and that's how we bond. I was just talking about this the other day. How we bond is like cracking jokes on each other and stuff like that. But like here, people are so nice all the time. And like when I would like crack jokes or like be sarcastic, people would be like, "You're just being an asshole."
Yeah,
and I'm like,
it's
so
yeah.
I have to taper it back some too.
Yeah, I get that. And well, I was in the military for a minute, so like cracking joke, like you crack jokes and you make fun of the ones you like the most.
Yes.
So like if you're not roasting them, you're not fucking with them. Yeah, and that's kind of like the difference. So
Yes.
it's like I love you to the level where you can say that fucked up thing about me.
Yes.
Yeah,
That's exactly what
because
it is.
you like you're so close, you wouldn't even have known that you could make fun of that. Like you wouldn't even have known that that was something you could make fun about, you know? So, but yeah, so I totally feel that. That's funny that you said that.
Yeah, I was just talking about it the other day, and it's like, yeah, it's like it exactly what you said. Like the closer we are, the more I know that you won't be mad if I say this about you.
Right.
But it's also a crazy thing that like us making fun of our insecurities is like the best thing that bonds us,
Yeah.
which can also be its own.
I think it's important to be able to laugh at yourself. And I
Yes.
think the way that I approach to avoid, upsetting anybody is I try to just make fun of myself more, and a lot of the times it ends up working out. It's always a safe route.
Yes.
Because, like
I feel that. Yeah.
people are like, oh, that's fucked up. Like I'll make like dead dad jokes because my dad passed
Oh.
away, and people are like, oh, but I'm like, I love it because it's like people's reactions are like, oh shit.
Bruh, I literally earlier today told a like really racist like black joke at
Oh my
work,
god.
and I was like, but it's funny to me, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
like,
And you can say it.
yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, like for me, like I like crude humor, and I'm like, it can be like a racist joke, but if it's funny, then it's cool for me
Well,
personally.
I think what's really important is intent.
Yes.
What is your intent behind, because when you're saying something when you're angry and your intent is to harm, it's different than when you're with a group of friends and you're all just kind of going back and forth and no one's trying to harm anyone. You're just kind of goofing off.
Yeah.
I think it's different. And
Yeah.
the intent totally matters.
100%.
Yeah. If someone said a joke to get at you and they're not like you're not comfortable with them on that level, then that could be like offensive.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
100%. Yeah, I feel that. I went through something like that at work recently where I had to get taught to HR and all of that stuff. But it was
Oh,
all but it
no.
was on a level of I know that employee that said this thing. It was the problem was I wasn't with her when she said it, and someone heard it and it was like, that's not right. And I mean,
Got it.
admittedly, what she said was it was kind of fucked up.
Yeah.
But it was like me and her have that relationship where we can talk to each other about that type of stuff.
Yeah, I
But
always tell people I'll always come to you face to face before I go higher in a work setting or whatever it is. Like, if I didn't bring it to you and you're hearing it, that doesn't exist.
Right.
Like, unless I come to you and I'm like, hey, you said X, Y, and Z or something.
Yeah.
Because it just makes it easier,
Absolutely.
deal with it straight on.
Yeah, I'm very much a straight on, like, let's sit down and talk.
That's good. That's good. That's
I
a good
do
way to
not
be.
want to be a passive aggressive and
Yeah,
stuff like that.
no.
It's like let's deal with this.
Yeah, there's too much room for like misunderstanding too with that.
Yes, especially like with when you go with like texting over calling and stuff like that. Like
Yes.
I much rather be like, hey, let's sit down face to face and talk, because like there's things like tone, inflection, like eye contact,
Yes,
like all of those
100%.
things like sets the context for what we're talking about, because I can
Totally.
text you something and when
I
like
could be reading it like you're saying it mad, but you're not mad.
exactly
Yes.
bro. If I'm looking at you in the face, then you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like that's how I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Good point. Good point.
exactly.
My friend just said something online and I was like, dang, you like have some compassion. And he was like, nah, I mean it with love. And I was like, okay, I just took it. I was like, okay, you're right.
Yeah.
But these open mics, where do you have them at?
So my open mic right now is in Chinatown. It's at Next Door.
Oh, nice.
So I have it every first Thursday. I've done a lot of open mics over the last like 6 years.
Okay.
Mostly in Chinatown, Kaka'ako, stuff like that. But the one I have now is in Chinatown at Next Door on every first Thursday of the month.
That's dope.
And yeah, it's a really dope environment, like,
is it mixed? Like, is it artists and poets and a little bit of everything? Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's like, you got poetry, musicians, comedy. I mean, someone that did interpretive dance. We've had people play like violin. We've had all different types of art forms, and it's always like a dope space, like I said, to network with other artists.
Totally.
Because next thing you know, like you'll meet somebody that plays guitar and I like to do poetry, and next thing you know, we're doing a show together. Like that happened to me before at Lunar Vibes. We was there and I heard this guy playing a guitar while I'm just like stumbling through a field, and I go to the stage and I'm like, who is that? Because it sounds amazing. Talk to him afterwards. His name is Guy James. Shout out to Guy James. And next thing you know, like I was asking him about So Far Sounds. You ever heard of So Far Sounds?
Mm-mm.
So Far Sounds is like this organization that does different shows all across the country. They do like secret shows. Well, it's all around the world, and like they don't tell you who it is or where it is until the day of.
I like that.
And so I was like, I want to do that. I want to do it. And then I talked to him, and he was like, I know the person that hosts those shows.
Oh.
And then next thing you know, me and him are on stage doing a So Far Sound show, and it was amazing. So
That's
it's like
cool.
my duty as
meant to be.
Yes, yeah,
it's aligned that
yeah.
way.
And it's like my duty as a facilitator now. It's like, let's get everybody in a room and see what happens. So that's why I do it, and I encourage everybody to come and be inspired or let some shit out.
I like that. That's really cool. Yeah, I did I guess you could call it kind of like a secret show like that, but I threw it in the Sutro Caves in San Francisco. I don't know if you ever heard about that. So that's where the original Burning Man used to be at. So that's where Burning Man was way in the beginning before it got so big that now they have to do it in fucking Nevada. So they did it over there, and what ended up happening was I was hanging out with a girlfriend, and she was like, yo, I heard about this concert in the caves. And I was like, what? Like, let's go check it out. And we couldn't even hear the music from where you park, because you kind of park like above the cave. And I'm like, is this really happening? Like, are we about to like walk into some shit, like some weird shit? But we went down there, then we started hearing the music. They had a whole ass stage and a rock band in there. And I was like, what the fuck?
Inside of some caves?
Yes. Dude, dead ass.
That's dope.
And you can walk, and you walk straight through, and it's just a big ass cave. So I was like, yo, we should do this like the same thing, but like in a couple weeks. So I like had my own thing, and me and a few friends like DJ'd and shit, and it was pretty dope. Super cool. Yeah,
that sounds amazing.
It was freaking dope.
Yeah, I haven't been to like Burning Man yet, but I
Me
really
neither.
want to go. You haven't been?
I haven't been either.
Oh, I want to go so bad. It's just I got offered actually. Recently I got one of my friends was gonna go, but she couldn't. So
my friend got 2 tickets for us.
Really?
Yeah, because I said I was gonna go, and then
for this year
I was going. This past year, and but I went through a breakup, and I decided not. Well, I'm also in school, so it was kind of gonna be hard to. Yeah. Like during my finals, you know what I mean? So I was like, bro, I can't go.
That's a lot.
But I kind of felt bad because like he was like acquired the tickets pretty much,
Yeah, because those tickets are expensive as hell. Like my friend, she got tickets, she couldn't go, so she was like, I'll offer the ticket to you. You can have it if you want to go. But I didn't know the logistics of getting there is a lot more.
It's a lot. It's a lot. Yeah, you gotta have a plan. And we had a plan, but yeah, so I think I don't even think he got them yet, so I think he was still okay, but he like reserved 2 basically. But it's not a big deal. He can get other people to, other people want to go, so it's fine.
Yeah, I would love to go there. I want to go, and I keep saying like I'm gonna plan it out. But
I just want to go at least once to experience it.
Right.
It's not. I don't know that I'm really that down to be all dusty and stuff or like that. Just
yeah,
being in the military and like sleeping in the grass and in the dirt, like I'm a little too bougie for that, So.
I feel that like a lot of like I go camping often and I love it, and but yeah, the people who are in the military or were in the military, they just be like, bro, I didn't have my fill of sleeping outside, and you got it.
I'll still camp, but my ass will have a queen size blow up. You bet your ass I will, and I'm not ashamed of it. And if everyone's in my tent because my bed's the most comfortable, that's cool.
I feel that.
Yeah,
I feel that.
That's all good.
Yeah.
So that's cool. You have them in Kaka'ako and stuff, and they're a good mix. How can people support it? Like,
please come through.
You have an Instagram for it?
I do have Instagram at Z from Baltimore, all one word. But yeah, you can follow me on Instagram. I got my business page, Volcanic Voices. It's volcanic.voices. And that's where I post all the flyers. On my personal page, I post them too, and other stuff. But yeah, like a lot of people, like some people, even if they don't come, they'll still buy a ticket just so that they can support it, because it's not about like making money for me. That was one thing. Like somebody came to my open mic the other day, and he was like, I was like, yeah, it's $5 for artists, which the regular price is $15 for at the door, 10 online. And he's like, oh, you're charging us to perform. And I was like, bro, like I have to pay all of these people. You know what I mean? Yeah. I got to pay for the space. I got to pay for the DJ. I got to pay for all this stuff. So it's like, it's not that I want to make money. It's that I want to continue it.
Well, it's okay to make money.
It is okay to make money. At the
end of the day, it's a business.
Right. And I make some money. But I'm an artist, so it's not unless you like big time and
Yeah,
over
it's
there,
just not your point.
Yeah, the point
your
isn't to
point
make
is to
money. Yeah,
the
the point
gathering.
is to build support. So it's like you can support by buying a ticket and coming through.
Yeah.
Some people have bought tickets, and even if they can't come, they just want to support because
That's
all we want
nice.
to do is continue to grow and build and just have it there. You know what I mean?
Right,
Because
totally.
I had
Well, that's how
two.
I got
Mhm.
like experience as an artist is
Right,
open mics. Now
exactly.
I can go to the Bay Area, and as soon as I tell them I'm in town, they're like, "Yo, what time do you want to play?" You know. So, but I
Exactly.
would have never gotten comfortable enough if I
Mhm.
didn't have those practicing.
Right.
You know, and
Right. That and it's so necessary because that's exactly how I started too. Like my first time I went to poetry slam, and I had no idea what it was. Like my ex at the time was like, "Yeah, you should go to this thing," because she knew I wrote poems. And I went, and I was like mind blown. I was like, people are competing with poems. I never heard of that before in my life. I was like 28 years old already, and I was like,
mm-hmm.
holy crap! And so I went, and then the next week they had an open mic, and I went there, and I was just watching, and the host, it was crazy because like the host came to me in the beginning, and she was like, "Hey, do you want to go on stage and perform?" And I was like, no, I just came here to just like sit in the corner and shit. And she was like, and she was like, okay, I'll come back. And then during her intermission, she came back again, and she asked me again, and I was like, and then she's she said, "Man, get your ass on the stage." And I
That's
was like,
funny.
okay. And I went up, and I read the shortest poem that I had, but people liked it, and I was blown away because I was like, y'all like my shit, like holy shit.
Oh.
And it changed my life. It changed my life. Just and I went every week to that open mic, and that's why, like I said, that's why I do it. That's what got me into it, because I was going to open mics, and then during COVID everything shut down, and
Mm.
I was doing like virtual open mics, and I started hosting virtual open mics. And then after COVID, I was waiting for the people who are hosting open mics here to like bring it back, and everybody was just like, "Nah, I'm good." So I was like, "Yo, somebody
Sure.
has to do something,"
Yeah.
And that was like, "Well, fuck it, I'll do it," And that's when I started, and I'm like, I have to pay it forward because somebody did that for me. So that's the
Mm-hmm.
reason why I'm doing it, is because I got to do it for someone, and then eventually somebody's gonna take it and do it, and I won't have to anymore.
Yeah.
You know,
That sounds cool. Yeah, I'm looking. So I'm looking to do my podcast party, and I talked to Pink Rabbit, and they say I can host it there, and they just open. I don't know if you've been there yet.
I have
It's
not.
pretty dope. The outside is like Alice in Wonderland themed.
Oh,
But now you got me thinking, like maybe I should just do like an open mic vibe, and so usually, so last year I threw a podcast party. It was on the beach. I had a bar and a DJ, and then I did like giveaways. So I gave away prizes and stuff. So that would be like the vibe. But we'll have to talk. I might need a host, because I
I
don't want to
mean,
host my own thing.
yeah, that's exactly what I do.
Yeah, or like M's, or like I need like an MC.
MC,
I
yeah.
have a girl that is gonna fly in from LA that's gonna host it.
Mhm,
Like her face will be like on the flyer.
mhm,
And she just has like a following online, and she's
mhm.
like one of my close friends.
Nice.
But I it's weird to be the one on the mic when it's your event. You know what I
I
mean?
feel that. I feel that. Well, I do host and MC a lot. Even like people hire me to host and MC their stuff,
Yeah, yeah,
because one thing that I've been noticing, and I was talking about the other day, like I love poetry, but like when you do something for so long and so often, sometimes you lose that beginning feeling. But like for me, like hosting is way more fun.
yeah.
Like
I love doing
being,
that.
yeah, like being able to get up there, talk your
Make sure
shit.
everyone's having fun, or like
Yeah.
what the issues are for the next
Hmm.
time. Yeah,
Yeah, keep the energy up, you know what I mean? Like it's really fun to do. And like yeah, like I like hosting now more than performing, which I still love to perform, but
yeah,
like hosting is a whole different beast.
yeah. I got to host a Femme Frequency thing, and
Oh, I've been to that before.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And it's basically just like me convincing people to come, because like
Uh-huh.
because they know if I'm gonna be there, they might come. They might come
Mhm.
through. So I was actually surprised. I had some coworkers that showed up, and I was like, "Damn, you're lit!" Like, yeah, I was like, "Damn," but I appreciate it,
Yeah.
like because for me, like your presence is a present,
Mhm.
and sometimes people don't have the money, and
Mhm.
it's totally understandable. But when they come and they show up for you,
Mhm.
that's dope.
It is very, very dope.
That's
Like
super dope.
when I do shows at Manor Valley Theater,
Ooh.
That's usually like either like Black History Month or Juneteenth. I do a show called Black Voices Matter. That was like the first show I ever hosted like 6 years ago, and so yearly I've just kept it going. And when I host those shows, it's like, I mean, as someone who hosts their own events, it can be hard to fill those seats. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Especially like at a theater, they have 180 seats. So it's like at my open mic right
You
now,
got to get the word out.
yeah,
And
bro, I'm out here handing out flyers. I'm out here posting flyers on stuff,
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
all on
You got to grind
Instagram.
it. Yeah.
It's hard, you know,
Yeah.
and like if you at like next door, you got like 50, 60 people, it's full.
Yeah.
But 50, 60 people at a theater,
Right.
it looks empty, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
like when someone, like I had some coworkers show up too, and I'm just like, wow, that's it's moving, you
Yeah,
know,
oh
when you
yeah.
see people who you didn't even expect, even if some of them don't even like the art form that you're doing, but they show up because they
Yeah.
fucks with you. And
Yeah.
that shit, that means a lot, you know. That
Yeah,
means a
it's
lot.
cool when I see people that like they're not really creative like that, but they'll still show up. Like that's cool.
That's really
Because
dope.
they're like, well, you guys have the guts to do that, and I'd never. Or I like encouraging people that maybe. I had one friend that I like took him to an open mic, and he ended up doing an open mic, and then he ended up performing all over the island here, made an album, and I was like, there you go.
There you go. Exactly.
Like,
That's
because
exactly.
I think life is about like not just what you can accomplish, but what you can help others accomplish. You know, what you can help inspire others to do.
Exactly, because someone did that for you at one point, and
Yeah.
like all we're
Yeah.
doing is just passing it along. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's exact. Like I said, that's exactly how I got started, and that's exactly why I do what I do. Is because of just that exposure, just exposing yourself to something different, and then in turn exposing someone else to it, and then next thing
Now
you
you can
know,
be the person that's like, get your ass on stage.
I do it all the time, all the
You got
time,
3 seconds to
all the
get your
time.
ass. Yeah.
Get your ass on
The thing too is like, and I noticed this more now, like weeks go by and like people kind of forget. Like even when you were in the moment and maybe you were like saying you had like a comedy thing and it didn't go good, once you're off stage and like a couple days pass, like people forget. Like it's not even a thing.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. And it's all about getting better. You know, like
True.
you show up and you know what worked, what didn't, you know, just get better. Like me personally, like I got into poetry slam, which is a competition. I got into that because I'm a competitive person. And then me and one of my really good friends, he was is don't quote me on that. He is so good at writing poetry, and me and him would compete with each other. And it got me to get so much better because I am trying to beat him and he's trying to beat me, and we're gonna be the
You're
best
like pushing each
two.
other.
Yeah, it's iron sharpens iron, you know.
Yep.
And it's all about like going there, being inspired and wanting to get better. And that's the most beautiful part of it, you know, like being a host, like watching someone blossom into the artist that they want to be or are going to become.
That's
and
true.
then it's like I saw that person when, like the host that got me on stage, I saw that dude when he was just like dude in a corner, too shy to talk to anyone. And then it's like boom, that dude has
Now
won
he's hosting, like or
I've won
winning.
4 grand slams since then, and that's insane. And so yeah,
It
like
is. Congrats.
you just gotta try it out, you know. And
what
get
brought you
better.
to Hawaii?
So my brother was in the military, and I didn't grow up with him. He was on my dad's side, and I grew up with my mom. And he didn't know that I even existed till I was 21.
Oh shit.
Yeah, he got back from Iraq, and he was just like, "Oh, Facebook says I have a brother." And so we met up at a family reunion, and then a few years later, he was like, he's getting PCS to here, and he's like, "Hey, do you want to come? I got my son. You can help me with my son, and we can get to know each other." And I was like, "Cool." So I came here. I was not prepared to be a whole ass nanny because I don't have kids, and I didn't really want kids. I really don't. But he was like, "Yeah, like come help." So I did, and then he was here for 2 years, and then he left, and I stayed. So because I was like, can't go back to Baltimore. You know, that's nobody goes.
It's
back
hard
to
to
Baltimore.
leave here once you like see what's here.
Yeah, because this is a whole different world.
Yeah,
like I'm from the East
I always
Coast.
say it's a different country.
Yes, yes, it is a whole different country because like the culture shock is real. And at first, I can't lie, like the first 2 years I was here, I did not like it. only because
That's
like I had to go
understandable.
on that like self-discovery journey. You know what I mean? Like I grew up in a very like these are my friends and we're together all the time.
Mm,
And then I moved to a place where I don't know anyone and
that's
anything
hard.
like that. Yeah, so I went through that identity crisis of who am I outside of the context of my friends. And that
Mm,
was hard. And then it you project that onto the place that I'm at. I'm like, I hate Hawaii. But what it really was just I was uncomfortable with having to face the fact that I have to be my own person now.
mm,
And so then once it was poetry, that's why I say poetry saved my life. When I started doing poetry, that's when I first met people. It was like 2 years into it. I first met people outside of like my coworkers. And then I
mm.
was like, oh, I found a tribe. And
Yeah.
now I can go to hikes and go to the bar or go to poetry shows with people that I like. And then it was like now I felt like I was actually living in Hawaii versus just like I stay here. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so
yeah.
like that's how it blossomed into it, you know.
So right now, going forward, probably staying.
Yes, I will say like I always say like I feel like there's something I need to do here and the universe will let me know when it's done and when it's time to go.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but right now
Right now,
I'm here.
you're called here, and
Yeah.
you'll take the call if you're called somewhere
If
else.
I'm called somewhere else, I will go. I was thinking about going to Cali. Cali seems dope. I've never even been to Cali.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
it seems dope.
it doesn't hurt to travel.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
California is pretty cool. I lived in San Francisco for a bit. I lived
Mhm.
in the Bay Area.
Nice.
So yeah, the Yay area. It's good. It's
The-
good times. Oakland's cool. My boss now that I have is retired Oakland
Mm,
PD. So got
nice.
some interesting people in my life.
I just had some poets from Oakland. Shout out to Prentice Powell and Sean William. They came out here because they were doing they made an album and they wanted to get the Grammy for spoken word poetry. And this was their first stop on their tour around
Oh
the
wow.
country. And they actually got nominated for
Oh
a
wow.
Grammy,
Oh hell yeah.
which was insane.
That's sick.
So like those Oakland poets, man, they are really dope.
Yeah, actually, when I was out there in San Francisco, there's there's like little things they do. They do them out in the street, and then you
Mm.
like everybody just takes turns, and
Hmm.
it's like a slam, but it's like right there on the street, and it's pretty dope. And then you can just on your way to work or like whatever, you can like stop and listen to them, and they're all like sitting on the ground and shit. It's super vibey. Yeah,
Oh.
I mean everyone in SF is a hippie, so you might like you'd like hate in Ashbury and like that area.
Mm,
Yeah,
I gotta
there's
go.
a lot of hippie areas over
I
there.
love me some hippie shit.
Yeah.
I might not look like it, but I'm a hippie
Yeah.
at heart.
What'd
I
you get
love
in?
that.
How'd you get into that? Just
Um,
from being here, or?
well, so I used to be I used to be a Boy Scout when I was a kid.
Mhm.
And so like that's how I learned like being like on camping, hiking and stuff like that. But then like as a teenager, I was just like too cool for stuff like that. So then I come here and we do like hiking and camping and stuff here. And I was just like I rediscovered my love for nature,
Yeah, yeah, in the
And then
outdoors.
it was like my first like outdoor like festival was when I was like, oh yes, this is really what I like to do because you got fire spinning and you got like camping and all of these things that go with like live music and all that stuff. And I was like, this is the vibe that I really like. And but also like other than the party aspect, it was like during that self discovery of being here alone, I started reading a lot about like Buddhism and spirituality and stuff like that. And like that type of stuff goes hand in hand where it's like, it's working on your mind, working on mind, spirit, body,
Yeah.
and then it's like project that outward. Cause I was like a big reason why I was so uncomfortable was like I was letting outside infect my inside. You know what I mean?
Mm,
Like being in a new place, especially like being black here. Like people like I felt like people were like afraid to like be next to me or something like that, or they were
really?
intimidated. Like I felt that, but I had to realize like that was me projecting onto the world. You know what I mean?
Mm,
And it was, I mean, some of it really happening, but like it was like me projecting onto the world. I had to realize like I need to master self, body, mind, spirit, all of that, and then project that outward.
right.
And so like when I talk about like being a hippie and stuff like that, it's like being connected to that spiritual realm, being connected to the universe in a special way,
Yeah.
and then being with like-minded people. Then the party and stuff goes into that because
Yeah.
now we're in a space where we're comfortable
Totally.
and we can share ideas and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
then go from there.
Yeah.
That's yeah.
That's interesting. I never really felt brown until I went to California.
Mm.
And I mean, the area that I was in, Marin County, is like one of the richest counties ever. So it was just weird because I never experienced that, and like I'm Filipino, so it's like, I kind of got a taste of like kind of how weird that is, like when the way people treat you, or like think that like, um yeah, I don't know how to explain it, but like, or I had like one day, because I worked at the Apple store, and one time this lady asked if I was in a gang because I had
Oh
my shoes were
shit.
red,
Oh
and I was like,
shit.
what?
Wow.
Like, I almost didn't like know what the question was, and I was like,
Mhm.
what do you mean? She's like, oh, I don't know, you have red shoes, and I was like, so I was like, but what makes me in a gang? Like, I'm at my
Mhm.
workplace. It was just weird. Like, I was like,
Mhm.
okay, yeah, this is some
Mhm.
fucking shit.
I feel that, bro. For me, it was I used to work at TJ Maxx, and they used to. I was a supervisor of the cashiers, and they make you like walk through the line when it's a long line and like talk to the customers. And for me,
Mm,
it was like I was at work and like people would be like, mostly women. No offense, I get why women can be uncomfortable around men. That is 100% understandable. And like I said, it was me projecting, but it was like they would look at me and be like, "Oh shit!" Like here's clutching purses and stuff like that. And I'm like, bro, I'm literally at work. Like, what am I gonna take from you and run away while I'm at work? You know what I mean?
yeah. Oh
It was
man.
crazy. It is crazy to be like a lot of black people here tell like say the same thing. It's like crazy to be a minority, but also in a place where there's mostly brown people. So it's like being around brown people, but still being a minority is like a weird space. But that's
Hmm.
why we have like different events where
Interesting.
we all like find each other. So like I,
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
work with this organization called For the Culture. Shout out For the Culture Hawaii. And we do a lot of like it's all inclusive like parties and events and stuff. Anyone can come,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's like black centered because like when I first got here, there were no things like that. And when we started doing stuff like that, it was like when like a lot of black people come here, they'd be like, "Oh, there's no black people here," and it's like, no, there are black people here. We just have to find each other,
Right.
and then we do these events so we can find each other. Because I didn't
That's cool.
realize like how much how much more comfortable you are around your own people until you not that anymore. Because like in
Mm,
Baltimore, it's like very much stereotypical. We are all against each other, and then we come here and be like, oh yeah, I ain't got to be around so many black people anymore. And then you realize like, holy shit, like I need that in my life. And that's for anyone. Like anyone needs to be around their people sometime. You know what I mean? Like not just solely around your people, but
right, right, right.
sometimes like it's just like there's certain cultural things that you can't get anywhere else.
Yeah.
And I had to learn that through experience. It wasn't even like somebody's told me this and I believe this. Like I had to learn that through experience.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's beautiful now. It's beautiful, because now I got different friend groups. I got my hippie friends. I got my people that like to turn up. I got my people that just like to go sit in the woods for days and just sit there.
Yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
all different types.
Yeah, that's good. It's good
Mhm.
to be it's good to have a well-rounded personality where you can connect with different groups of people.
Yeah,
I
that's the
think
part.
that's really good.
That's the
Yeah.
dope. Yeah.
Do you have any like person in history that you look up to that's inspired
Oof.
you, or
Oof.
a top?
Yes. More than one. The one that comes to mind automatically is always Malcolm X. Malcolm X was the guy because
See that?
Malcolm X was so much a person that's like, I see what's happening, something needs to change, and I'm not going to back down. And he spoke the truth. Now, did Malcolm X get some things wrong? He's a human, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But and then he realized it towards the end of his life. He realized the things that he stood on and some stuff that he got wrong. And he admitted it. He was like, yo, maybe I've been too harsh on people because now I
Mm,
see a different way. But at the same time, he was always be proud to be who you are,
yeah.
stand on that stuff. Don't that he wasn't advocating for violence, but he was advocating for self-defense.
Mm,
And then which in turn started the Black Panthers because they're like, oh no, they killed Malcolm, we gotta do something.
yeah.
And then he started a whole revolution. So it's like Malcolm X would definitely be the guy. But another person that's still with us is Neil deGrasse Tyson. He's the guy.
I don't know who that is.
Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Yeah.
He's a astrophysicist.
Oh
He's
shit.
also a black dude, but he's like the most famous astrophysicist because he has personality, but he's also like one of the smartest people that
Oh
you'll
shit.
hear talk about the stars and everything like that. And I really look up to him because being like a black nerd. He's like, it's cool. It's
Yeah. He
cool
like
to be
made
a
it
black
cool.
nerd. Yeah, he did, and he's
That's
still.
interesting.
I very much. He has a podcast called Star Talk,
Oh, okay.
and you
I'll have
should
to
watch
look.
that.
Yeah, I'll have to watch that.
Mhm.
It's so fun. I was such a weird kid because I'm not even kidding. I had a poster of Jackie Robinson behind
Ooh.
my door, and he was like my idol. My mom's like, "Why do you like him?" I'm like, "Cause he's the only black baseball player, and he's like, he's changing the world." And my mom was like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?" Like, I'm like this like brown Filipino girl that like sees like I'm like, How, Mom, can you imagine if you were just the only one? Like it was so funny, but I like loved him. He was like
Yeah.
my idol.
Yeah,
So
I
funny.
literally just watched that movie like last week. Like legit watched that movie last week. But he was a very admirable person because like they had to
It takes
convince him. They was like,
courage,
yeah,
dude.
to not react. Like
Yeah.
the courage that you have to have for people to get spewed so much hate at you
Yeah, and
and
you to
not
still
react.
show up and just to be there and
Mm-hmm.
to make a change for the future. It's crazy. Like to think about that is like insane. Like
It is.
how time and it didn't feel that long ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like
It
times
really
were different.
wasn't. Like, you think that you could withstand that and persist without reacting?
I mean, it would depend on the circumstance. I don't do
Mm.
good with people disrespecting me.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
feel that.
yeah.
I feel that. That's why Malcolm X was my first choice because he's just like, yo, don't be out here
But that's what
attacking
I
people.
loved
Yeah.
watching the Gandhi. I don't know if you watched like a documentary about
Mm-mm.
Gandhi.
Mm-mm.
And stuff like that against violence, where like it was like the ultimate peaceful protest.
Mm-hmm.
Like people could just be attacking you, and you're just like still like it's
Yes.
crazy. It's a little crazy because you're like, okay, there's a fine line between like now you're in danger,
Yes.
but still that was the point. That was
Right.
the driving force was love, and
Mm-hmm.
like and that's really what it is love is like the answer ultimately.
Yes, and inner peace and self-discipline and stuff like that. Like that's really all it's about.
Yeah.
And like yeah, like I would love to say that I had the strength to withstand. Like I could take words. Like you could say a lot of things to me and I won't react. But when somebody
It
put their
takes me. It
hands
takes a
on you,
lot. It takes a
yeah,
lot for me. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah. When somebody put their hands on me or someone around me that I love,
yeah.
that's where my line
I always
is.
say it's kind of like a cop thing. Like you you ask, you tell, and then you make.
Wait, what does that mean?
So I'm gonna ask you to stop,
Mm.
then I'm gonna tell you to stop, and if you still don't, then I'm gonna make you stop.
Ooh.
That's what it is.
I've never heard of that, but
Yeah,
that sounds exactly right. Yes, absolutely. I like
yeah.
that. Ask, tell, make. Yes, let's do it.
I'll ask you, I'll tell you, I'll make you.
That's the way to go too. Like
Yeah,
that makes a lot of logical sense. Yes,
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
with that.
Yeah, I mean, you'll at least get a forewarning.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
yeah, so you have
Yeah.
the opportunity to retreat, and but yeah, I'm very about obviously when I was younger and more immature, I probably would
Mm-hmm.
have, you know, uh, my reaction is a lot different. When you get older, you have more to lose. You realize it's not as
Yeah.
worth it.
Mm-hmm.
You think of
Mm-hmm.
the consequences more and things like that. So
Yeah, because I used to be a wild one back
yeah,
in the
yeah.
day.
I'm sure to
Yeah.
some extent,
Mm-hmm.
all of us were, but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I think I try to think things through
Yeah,
a
because
lot
like
more.
exactly what you said, you got way more to lose now than
Like,
any
is it worth
time.
it?
It's not.
You
It's
know what I
it's
mean?
not worth it unless you are actively deterring someone from harming you or someone
Or
is like
someone else.
physically
Totally.
harming you. Other
Yeah,
than that, it's like, bruh, you can say whatever you want to me, dog. Like
yeah, yeah,
everything that you're saying, if you have so much hate in your heart for me, and you're spewing hate at me, it has everything to do with you and nothing to do with me.
yeah.
And like, unless I did something to you, which me personally, I'm like
Right.
always like, I'm all about accountability, bro. Like, if
I
I
love
was
that.
wrong, then I was wrong.
Yeah, yeah,
Like if you mad at me for what I did, you got it. I'm wrong. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
But some people will hate you just for me and you.
yeah.
And
That's
that's
inevitable.
yeah,
I
exactly.
always tell my friend because she was like she got hated on recently, and I was like, look, if you're not getting hated on, you're not making it. You know what I mean? That's just kind of
Yeah.
how it is. I think Cat Williams said something like that, like you can hate me by the summertime, and then if you got 5 haters, you need 10 by
10 by
summer.
the summer. Yeah. That's exactly. Because like people will like, because like I said, it has everything to do with them and nothing to do with you. They're upset because you have qualities that they wish that they had, and instead
Yeah,
of admitting it or even trying to talk to you, it'll be like, hey, put me on game. It'll be like, man, I just can't stand that person
yeah.
because of that. And like, and they don't even,
We're
the
all
thing,
on different levels of consciousness
right,
within ourselves.
right.
Yeah,
And then the thing about that is like they don't even recognize it. So like I feel bad. Like we have compassion for them because they're not even recognizing why they hate me. Like
Yeah.
they don't hate me. They hate something within
Not there's
themselves.
a lack of self-awareness.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. And then that I'm just like I'm sorry. Like how can I be mad at you when you are just like you have work to do on yourself.
yeah.
And it's like I
True.
really wish I hope that for you. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Yeah.
Do you have any future dates for the open mics you want to shout out?
Yes.
Is it always consistent?
Yes, so it's every first Thursday of the month.
Sweet.
I got some shows coming up this week. I don't know when this is gonna come out, but I got have you ever been to Immerse or
No.
heard of it? So we have a planetarium show on Sunday, and then I got another show at Next Door on Friday. But every first Thursday of the month at Next Door, 7 o'clock is the open mic. And
Nice. Okay.
information is on my Instagram as he from Baltimore and Volcanic Voices.
I'll have to like go to work in late or call out and come through one of these days.
We will be there. I always tell people we are gonna be there. Whenever you can be there, then pull up. But
Yeah, that'd be
we'll be there.
awesome. Do you have any last advice for any future poets before we head out?
Um, love yourself. Write what's true to you. And the when we do poetry slams, the point is the poetry. The point is not the points. So please just write, let that shit out, and keep going because we're gonna be so loud that they can't ignore us as poets anymore. So
Ooh, I
let's do
like
that.
that.
That's it.
You're gonna make noise. I like that.
Making noise.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. And aloha. Thanks for watching Lucy's Paradise Podcast. Aloha.